Welcome to Sports Music and Other Ish. I'm your co-host, Vic.
I'm your co-host, Big John, a.k.a. the Black Jerry McGuire.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we got Mr. John Hollmon here. Go over his bio. He's a San Marcos, Texas native. He has a bachelor's degree in health, PE, and recreation. He has 20-plus years of playing experience. He played at Langston University, the ABA, Bulgaria, Germany, China, Mexico. He has 12-plus years of coaching and training experience, specializes in player development, works with youth, collegiate athletes, and overseas pros and WNBA players. Founder of Stat Pro and Stat Elite. He has 5 elite travel teams. How's it going, Stat?
Oh, good. Can't complain.
Good deal. You know, man, what we kind of want to do, man, we wanted to have a discussion over, youth sports. So we want to do a series of youth sports coming from a standpoint of a parent. A lot of parents looking to join ball groups, basketball teams, football teams. They want to train their kids. Some don't know where to start. When I first got here, San Marcos, you just kind of, seen a flyer or searched online and you just joined the club, and then sometimes you get in the club and you're not happy because you don't really know what to look for. We finally found a program, CTX Nights. I know as far as me and my family that we've been very happy with. So we kind of just wanted to talk about that, man. Me and you kind of been having a relationship, been knowing you for a while. I really trust your experience and things that you say. Many times I've had questions about things. I'll call you, and you give me uncut truth, let me know what's going on, and I really appreciate that. But the first thing I want to know is how you and the family doing during COVID, man?
Oh, man, we're good, man. I'm not going to lie. It was for the family-wise, it was a blessing. We got to spend a lot of time. Me, I'm always on the go, 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 go. So yeah. I got to be home, get a better relationship with my wife and the kids, and try to bring that on for my future and stuff. So it was good. Of course, with stat, it slowed down. You know what I mean? But I did virtual trainings online. I was going 3 times a day with groups, and it kept me busy.
Yeah.
It kept me in shape, but it was good.
Yeah. I had seen you had posted where you had stopped doing in-person trainings. Was it something that made you just stop? Did some news come through? I know we was getting a lot of updates, and I know at first, here in Texas, a lot of people in Texas wasn't taking COVID-19 seriously. Was it a moment that something that happened, or someone that caught COVID that made you say, you know what, I'm gonna bag up and just stop doing in-person trainings?
No, none of my family had got COVID. Nobody that I knew of got it or anything, man. It was just a matter of, and I'm sorry about the lighting here. It's not the best, but
that's good.
But it's just a matter of, man, it was bad. Had a friend in China at the time playing ball in China. He called me when all of it first started happening out there. He was literally like 30, 40 miles from the, Wuhan district, I think it was, where it was happening at. And so I just, I took it serious. So I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna shut it down no matter what everybody else is going. It was early stages. You didn't know how serious it is. So I just took it serious just to be safe. I didn't want to live with that. If it got to that point and say somebody in my area or my team or anything did get it, I didn't want to live with that on my conscience if something else happened,
Yeah.
So.
And as a business owner, I know you have trainers up under you. How was that, having to tell them, we got to kind of chill out for a while?
They understood it, from the jump. Everybody who works with us, who's part of us, they kind of know where I stand. They know how we move, So they kind of knew, if John take it serious, we're gonna support the situation. None of them were full-time trainers like me as well. None of them were. I was the only full-time trainer, so they had their other things going on, other income and stuff. So they understood. They understood 100%.
Yeah, I know the one thing I always said about you, man. You have a for-profit business, but you have a nonprofit mentality. Is one thing that I appreciate, because when you're a nonprofit, that mentality is different than a for-profit, because a lot of things you do for the children. And as running a football program before, sometimes the fees that you get in don't always cover everything. So sometimes you're scrambling around trying to get, donations, you're doing fundraisers and things like that. And so how tough was it for you to get back going? Did you automatically say, hey, we're gonna jump right back in it? Was it some reservations about starting?
Oh man, it was reservations, man. It was tough, man. You know, I had older kids. You know, I had a class of 2021 kids on my team, the kids I had since 8th grade that I coached them. And people wanted to get going. You know, people were like, people were at the same as me. They were like, I want to get going, but we're gonna be careful. So I mean, it took a time. When once I think it was June 15th is when they cleared for like people to have things. There was a big tournament right in Austin. The Gasso hosted first tournament. You know, it would have been very beneficial for my guys, but we didn't even go. You know, I decided to wait. I didn't want to be the first team out there to jump out there and just go through, you know what I mean? But man, I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I got bought almost over 1,000 masks for my whole program, gave everybody in my program masks. I got so much hand sanitizer, Lysol wipes, extra towels. I did all that stuff just to be safe,
Yeah.
And then we waited. I mean, a lot of teams started going. We didn't start till July. You know what I mean? For our first tournament for us.
Yeah.
So.
What kind of I was just about to ask you, like, what kind of precautions did you take once you started back up? But what kind of when you're dealing with the parents and something like this, obviously they want to get going, and they don't want their kids to miss time. But we all know that this was bigger than what we could have ever predicted. Did you get any like resistance on how you wanted to do what you did from the parents, or was everybody on board?
No, I mean, I'll be honest, in my program for my teams, I didn't have any issues at all. All the parents was like, whatever y'all decide, we support you. If you want to come back, we're ready. I had a couple parents who didn't come back, or they kept their son, which I understand that. But for starting, nobody was just like upset about starting. The only people I had some was people wanted to get in the gym for training. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? They're like, well, we can go outside. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. If I'm not training, you know what I mean, my people that's been around forever, I'm not about to put me or my family in danger, you know what I mean, and stuff. So that's the only resistance I kind of somewhat had, but it wasn't even that bad. But my program, parents wanted to, but they were just like, Coach John's going to do Coach John.
Yeah.
And we support it, so.
I know with COVID-19, it brought about a bunch of different things and different avenues. I know you said you went to virtual training, and I'm not sure if you was doing virtual training before then, but is that something now that you've done that you're going to decide you may keep and add to your repertoire?
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I like it. I did my training a little different than most people who do virtual training, I think, but I'm gonna keep it. Right now, I'm not doing any, but that's something I definitely would keep around. If people want to get going with that, I definitely would do it. The way I did my virtual training, man, I did it 3 times a day. It was on Zoom. I'll have my special group on Zoom. I think we did 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 6 p.m. And I set it up where you could come, you pay a monthly price, and you can come to all 3 sessions every day if you want to. It's 3 days a week. It was Monday, Wednesday, Friday, faithfully. So people got 27 sessions in a month, you know what I mean? They came, 9 times a week, all the sessions. I had people do that. And we just put work in, you know what I mean? It was good.
Talk about the passion you have for not only just the game of basketball, but the passion you have for, training, because, it takes a special person to get up every day, be in a gym day in and day out. What's your motivation and what's your passion for training and being in the gym with the kids?
Man, I'll be honest, like my father wasn't around. You know what I mean? He left like at 8 years old. And so pretty much the only thing I had with basketball, my father was basketball. It's the only thing I remember of him. We played college ball. It was Southwest Texas at the time, Bland, JUCO. That's what I remembered him. And then basically basketball raised me. My mother was there, my older brother was there, but basketball kept me disciplined. It kept me on point with grades. It kept me doing everything I needed to do. It kept me out of trouble. I didn't go the route that other people that I knew and stuff, brothers did, because basketball. So you know, it was always a vehicle for life, man, and that's how I take it. So always my passion that's my passion. You know what I mean? It's a vehicle for life, you know. If I didn't have basketball, I ain't no telling what my life would have been. You know what I mean? So I always try to, when I work with kids or anybody, that's how I look at it, man. And then I always tell myself, you know, I like to say that I don't just, you know, it's tough to just say you're a trainer for me. I'm a trainer because I feel like trainers just work on skills and get them better skills. And I always say, I always try to develop like a mentor, develop from the inside out. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to touch them physically and mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you know what I mean? To make them a complete, not only athlete, but complete person. You know what I mean? So that's the mentality I roll with it. That's kind of my punch where I go with it all the time. You know what I mean? While I'm able to be in the gym all day.
So, you know, what you're saying, all that, man, I just want to kind of go back to the beginning of when you started your business, right? Um, at what point did you realize that because, you know, athletes make that shift from playing to training to, you know, doing, you know, all the AAU stuff. At what point did you realize that hey, it's time to make the shift? And when you made the shift and people found out what you was trying to do, did people genuinely come on and try to help you, or was you getting a lot of resistance? Like, you know, man, you know how people can be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Man, it started with me when I was literally, we were in China and I was on a bus and we were going by a park in the gym. And I literally saw about 200-300 kids outside and they're working, playing basketball, and there's people walking around. We stopped the bus and started watching people walking around, moving kids to this court, moving kids to this court, you know, seeing potential here, that, kids by size and height. I'm like, look at these kids from here in China out there putting work in the gym. I even made a video of it. I was like, what you kids in the US doing? What we doing in the gym? I mean, you know what I mean? How much work we putting in? And, you know what I mean? And so I came back from that. I already knew I was like, I'm starting the training business. I started it. It was supposed to be temporarily until I would go back overseas. I was gonna, you know, I had signed a contract to possibly to play in the Philippines. I was working out for it, man, twisted my ankle, broke it. And I was just like, I didn't know it was broke. I thought it was just a bad ankle sprain, man. 6 months later, I'm still limping. And, you know, I started training during that time just to keep myself in shape, you know what I mean? Or not even in shape really because I couldn't move, but to keep busy, keep income and all that, man. And then when I finally got it, I healed, all that was good. But by that time, I had got a couple of kids in the college, man. I had kids, I had some nephews trying to get into college and stuff. And I was like, man, I'm liking this, you know what I mean? And after that, I just hung it up. You know, I had a chance to go play in Slovakia after that, but I turned that down and just decided this is what I want to do.
Yeah, you know, I know the training business is definitely it's one of those markets that it's tough. It's tough to be in it. And I know there's a lot of competition in there. And like I always tell Vic, you know, I've been around some of the best, you know, trainers and player personnel people. And then I've been around some really, really shitty, you know, for lack of better terms, shitty ass people, you know, that take a kid and just take him with that same skill set and throw him in just to win games and get shoe sponsorships and funding from other players and stuff like that. So when I meet somebody that's really about development, I think it's a great thing because it takes it back to the grassroots of everything. You know, these kids nowadays, they're so much more advanced than we were growing up because they got a lot of things at their fingertips. So in your program, from what I know you for and what, you know, Vic has told me, is that you pretty much are one of those grassroots type people who you're not just gonna take a kid and plug him in because he's good and say everybody else, you know, just follow in. You're gonna try to raise the level of each individual player inside your organization. So as a trainer, can you tell me at times how that can be difficult while you're doing it? Because obviously all these kids come in at different levels. I don't know. Do you have it where you got your more advanced kids, you know, on one team, and then you got some kids that's not advanced, and you got kids that's beginning, you know, because you got several teams, or do you only have kids that's at a certain level, and then you build from there?
At the young age, man, I pick them up. I base it kind of on potential. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I look at the kid. I look at the parents. I look at the surrounding. The area we're at. You know what I mean? I say it's an untapped market. You know what I mean? Because we ain't got no big time schools that's winning championships or nothing like that. And I get a lot of kids who, I don't fight for the best kids at all. I don't fight for them because at the end of the day, those kids are already, and nothing against them, but they've already come with baggage, meaning not all of them, but some of them baggage parents already or people already tell them they're the
It's
next
all
thing.
of them.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
It's all
what
of
I'm
them.
saying.
It's all of them.
Yeah.
Trust.
So I go with the kids who nobody want. I find them that I see potential. You know what I mean? I got a kid who, he was a decent player. But back to the actually, he couldn't even walk. He was an 8th grade, 6'4", couldn't walk. You know what I mean? Couldn't walk straight. You know what I mean? And people are like, "Are you gonna take him and put him on your top team?" I'm like, nobody gonna remember what your 8th grade is. You know what I mean? Who cares about your 8th grade? Now the kid's 6'11". You know what I mean? I take those type of kids and just I build them. Because when you get those kids, you can mold them however you want. Of course, you still got certain things. You're not around them all the time with their family and stuff, but their family's around you, so they trust you, and then you can literally mold them. You know what I mean? You can talk to them however you want to talk to them. You can do the things. I got kids who I took them to Dallas. I'm like, man, y'all too soft. Took them to eat breakfast and drove off in the car and said, find a ride back, find a way to get back to the game, to the gym. And they over there, got to walk the streets of Dallas and figure it out. You know what I mean? Parents are like, oh, laughing about it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I made kids drive a Greyhound to Dallas before. They had to ride the Greyhound bus, and I drove my car to Dallas just so they could get that experience, and the parents supported it. You know what I mean? So I like those type of kids. I can just take them and do whatever I need to.
With saying that, Stack, kind of tell us about your program. Give us an overview of your program.
Man, we this year we had 14 U boys, 15 U, 16 and 17 U boys. And then we started first year having our 13 U girls. We just have one team in each age group. We do tryouts sometimes. We've had teams where I've had good players come and good players who commit to us, but then they talk to me like, hey, man, this shoe team wants me. How do you feel? And I'm like, go. If you like it, go. You know what I mean? I've had players in the past leave, but they wanted to come back. I've had players leave thinking they got a better deal, and I always tell them, go ahead and go check out the grass on that other side, see if it's greener. And some of them come back with, man, it sucked. Some of them come back with, it was great. But they, the ones who do it right, I still have a relationship with. They may have played with other people, but they still train with me, at times. But we're about developing, man. Our programs are based on development. It's developing, like I said, the physical, which everybody does that with the skill level. Develop the emotional. Good players can play with emotions, but they're not emotional. I always tell people that. The mental, how mentally tough are you? Are you gonna break or fold when things happen? And then the spiritual part. When we talk about spiritual, it's kind of what kind of good spirit. What spirits are you? Are you a high spirit, low spirit? Can people control that? If if things happen to you, what do you keep a good spirit? Are you a positive nature spirit, or or is it negative? So, our program, we base it off those 4 components that I learned. I don't know where I learned it from, but can't give them credit. But I learned it from some people, and I kind of base it off of that. So we do the most. We do we've done this. We've done in classroom sessions where you start learning things, breaking it down. We do, much as we can for the program wise.
Yeah. I know, coming from dealing in youth football, and I'm still trying to, as a parent, get into the basketball mentality, because I honestly, man, it's so different than football. Like, it's totally different. I remember I text you one day about practicing how, in football, we practice 4 days a week, where in basketball, y'all practice, like 2 days a week. But the one thing that I picked up was like loyalty. Like, in football, usually most kids will start where they played at. So if you started in, at 6, 5, 6, 7 years old, you usually stayed there until you made it to junior high. And then, during the spring when football season was over, you may go join like a summer team or a spring team, but always in the fall, you always came back. But in basketball, man, it just seems like, I've seen kids, especially when I'm going into Austin at the tournaments, one year you may see a kid with this team, and then, the next season he with another team, then they with another team. And it just seems like the loyalty is different in basketball. Can you speak on that?
Man, I mean, you're right. When it comes to the basketball part, there is no, for the most part, most teams, I'm going to say, is no loyalty. Their kids, you'll play one weekend this team, their parents are mad, they're going to go play on another team. You know what I mean? There is no loyalty that. Now, me, I'm blessed to be in a situation where I had loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I can say this, my team, that 8th grade team that I had them since 8th grade. Now they're, going to be seniors. I've only had about 4 kids ever really leave. Mm-hmm. One of them came back. I mean, 2 of them left and came back. You know what I mean? Because they left. One of them left on good terms, and he came back. The other one left. I gave him another chance, and he disappeared again. But I say this: loyalty is rare. I've just been blessed in a situation to have that loyalty. But again, if you get them young, you know, and you can have them, you can preach that, you can mold them to that, you know. But I'm gonna be honest, in this game, there's not much loyalty. You know what I mean? There's not much loyalty to it. But for me, I've been blessed to have the situation where the loyalty's always been there for me. You know, I've been loyal to them, and I think it's, you know, I do right by them for the most part. I feel like I do right. I never have much complaints, and you know, I've been blessed with the opportunity to come back.
So with you talking about the loyalty part of this, and you know, I'm an agent, so I know loyalty is tough. You know what I mean? Because even when you're working with other agents and stuff like that, even the players, everything is, you know, it's always in the right now, right? And you know, we've had players leave our organization and come back and say, "Man, y'all were right. Y'all told me that this is gonna happen. This is what happened." Do you think that the fact that every parent, you know, they feel like they're spending this money for their kid to have this opportunity to play, and maybe they're not getting the minutes, or maybe their kid's not where they think their kid really is? Because, you know, a lot of times that's the issue. Even with professional players, everybody thinks they're here, but there's definitely always going to be a pecking order. You know, there's always a pecking order. There's always some politics in this situation, and you have to pay your dues. You cannot skip the line. Like, you cannot go from first Mexico to going playing in top level Europe or China. There's some things in between that you have to do. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're in a unique circumstance. You know what I mean? It's just not how it works. Now, back in the day, it used to work like a favor for a favor, but then people were doing those favors, and you had players and coaches not living up to what they were supposed to do because of those favors, right? It'd be the same thing with you. If I had a kid and I said, "Hey, man, you know, Vic's my guy. You know, we had you on the show. Take my kid. My kid's gonna be a top 10 player, but you give him my kid. My kid can't dribble with his left hand. He can't finish. He can't finish from both sides, over his shoulder. You know, left hand over right shoulder, right hand over left shoulder. So now we got issues. Now you in jeopardy for your program. My kid ain't gonna have his spot. So, do you think that the reason that the loyalty is shaky at times, and you've been blessed in a different situation, because it's because of the type of kids that you go after, right? You after the type of kid that's a little more grounded than that kid that's everybody been telling him every day, "Oh, you the best. You the next LeBron. You the next Mike. You the next Kobe." You know what I'm saying? And their parents is keeping it real. "Boy, you sorry as shit. You need to get out there and work." You know what I mean? And so now they found a home with you. But those other kids that you say left and came back, they may have been kind of on that in-between thing, you know what I mean, where people were telling them, "Oh, man, you so much better than this club, man. Look at everybody you playing with." You know what I'm saying? And then they go and they find out over there, you're not at that. You may be better, a little bit better than the people you're playing with, but you're not at that level of that next club or those next kids, because you ain't put the work in. So I guess my question would be, how do you see that plays a big part into it when we see not so much loyalty in the game? You know what I mean? As far as
Well,
like everybody around them and stuff.
yeah, I'm gonna say this. If I can answer the best way possible, but I'm gonna say this now. Don't get me wrong. For the most part, people are loyal to you as long as you can give them something.
Oh,
Once
absolutely.
they once they feel like they can't, they feel like, oh, there's no much he can give me no more. That's when that loyalty for a lot of people go. You know what I'm saying? Um, so for me, I try to be the point where I'm always able to give you something. So if you are graduated high school and you go back and you know what I mean, you go to high school, you're not necessarily in my program, they may still be loyal and treat me right because I've given so much and I'm still constantly trying to find ways to give. I got kids who just left and came back, or left and then they played college ball, stopped playing, and then they wanted to build their coaching resume and started coaching with me. You know what I mean? So it's still, this is where it goes. But I do feel like the loyalty comes from that. You always get those peoples in that kid's ear that's telling them where it may be another coach or a parent. Hey, I can get this, I can get that, which just construes the loyalty. But those are the type of people who, at the end of the day, they weren't with you from the beginning.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You said something very, very interesting. And I always, and this is something that I learned in business and doing business as an agent, as marketing clients, or whatever the case may be. We're all at the table for a reason. There's no reason for me to hold my bullets and my gun to the next meeting, because we're all at the table. He feels like I'm here because I feel like he can do something for me, or we can do something in harmony and work together. I know for myself, I've missed a lot of opportunities because I held my bullets for the next meeting, and the next meeting didn't really go like that. So, that's definitely interesting to know that, it's like that too with your club and with everything else.
Stat, when dealing with as a new parent, so I kind of want to go into this thing about being a parent coming into a program. What are things that parents should look at when evaluating a program to put their kid in?
Like, you're right. At first I would definitely evaluate. I would just come peek, just come watch. I would look at how the coach interacts with the kids. You know what I mean? At this age group, I think at this age and being select or AAU basketball, if you want to say it, then I think coaches got to have a relationship with them. Now, if a coach is just about get it, this, that, and go and treat it like it's a money thing, you know what I mean? I would be suspect because at the end of the day, they're not looking for development. They're looking to win. They're looking to build their name, themselves up. You know what I mean? So I would look at how the coach has a relationship with the kid or the kids. I would look at how long the coach has been doing it. Does he have a kid on that team? You know what I mean? I would look at that. Like for me, I've been doing this since 2012. My oldest son is 14. He lives in Arizona. He went nowhere around. You know what I mean? So things like that. If you're looking on court, if we talk about on court things, that's what I would look at. What the coach is doing, how he interacts with the kids. Does he have any kids on the team? How is he pushing them wise? You know what I mean? Is he a coach who's going to let them 5 minutes of warm-ups and then go play pickup games the whole practice? You know what I mean? Or is it skill development? Is it drills? Is he engaged the whole time? If you see him watching a game, if he's up by 40 or is he down by 40, is he still coaching? You know what I mean? Those are the things I would look at on court wise and stuff. Definitely off court, I do my research. You got to look up the guy, look up the girl, you see what they got going on, see their background. And they ain't got to say they have to have a high background, but just see. You'd be surprised how many coaches out here getting in trouble with other things and they still out here doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would look at that. You know what I mean? For me, I go detailed. I'm gonna look at, is he a family man? You know what I mean? How is he gonna hold himself? You know what I mean? Is his family ever coming around? If I come to 5 or 6 practices and you ain't seen nobody in this. Like my wife, she comes to most of my times or something. You'll see my kids around, my youngest. You know what I mean? Because you want, at the end of the day, you want those type of positive influences on your child's life. You know what I mean? So, because I always say it's bigger than it's not just basketball. It's bigger than that. It's a vehicle for life. So you got to look at. I critique all that type of stuff.
As a parent as well. So as a parent looking, and they got their child in the program. One thing that I heard when I first when my son started playing basketball, was the philosophy was the coach said they didn't care about winning. And to me, coming from football, you know, when you're 5 and 6, 7 and 8, but when you hit that 9-year-old, like, so in 5 and 6 we didn't keep score, so there was no score. Like, you kept score, parents kept score, the kids kept score, but there was no physical score on the board. It was about development. And then when you move to the next age level, the score was on the board, but nobody could really make the playoffs. It was still about development. And then when you hit that 9-year-old mark, oh, it's about winning. Like, you come out here, you come to win. We developed kids, but it was still about winning. And then when I started putting my son in basketball, it was like, well, it's not about winning. We don't care about winning. It's about developing the kid and the kid moving up. And I never understood that. Like, that was insane to me. But the more and more that I've gotten, you know, that he's been in the program, and I've been learning and watching and stuff like that, I realized it is about, you know, more of how the kid started and how he finished. So, with your advice, how should a parent look at their child in select basketball? Like, how should we look at that? You know, engage our kids when, you know, if it's not about winning, it's about development. You know, should we look at the wins, or should we be looking at more as the kid develop?
That's tough, because I feel like you do got to definitely focus on the development. But again, if a kid's losing all the time, that mental part of that, we talk about that mental component. How mentally tough is he going to be? How you know, think about things. You got to learn how to be a winner. You know what I mean? Colleges, they want kids who know how to win the game. They know kids who know how to finish. You know what I mean? Not a kid who could be the great, you know, they play well, but then they fold when it gets time to win the game. So to me, it's about development, but you also got to learn how to protect that, you know what I mean, that mental part. Meaning, if you go out there on the program, and that program's talking about development, but they're getting blown by 20 points every game, 30 points every game, to me, it's a waste. They're just hiding behind that development. You know what I'm saying? I say this, I mean, when I used to just do varsity teams, we didn't win a lot of games, but we won in the long run, because I may get 2 or 3 of them kids to go to college to play ball. You know what I mean? So I put that in their mind the whole time. This is what we're playing for. This is the win. This is the win. So they still had that winning mentality with certain things. Okay, we fell short that game, but you know what? We played good enough to impress, or something like that. You know what I mean? To get that looks, because that's what everybody's most people are, not everybody, but a lot of people are looking for that. But so I think that winning is still a factor. You know, when we say it's about development, it's not about winning. That's to a certain extent, because you got to win. You got to develop a mentality, man. You know what I mean?
That sounds like a cop out to me. Like, you got to win some games. You might win one. You got to win. I don't want my kid out there losing every, because then he gets a loser's mentality. No matter if he go out there dropping 40, he still losing. He don't know how to win yet. He don't know how to win. You know.
That's true.
You know. So that's crazy. That's crazy. But that one thing I wanted to talk to you about was, so when you talked about training earlier, you talked about starting out the practice with drills and whatnot. Now, I've always been a proponent of going from, you know, those skill sessions into like and building up to 5-on-5. So you're going through your development, whether you're a big, you're a guard, you know, whatever the case may be, with your specific group, right? And then you get together, then you playing 2-on-2, then you build up to 3-on-3, but you're doing it using the things that you just came from your skills training, right? Because you want to be able to translate what you just worked on into a real 5-on-5 game at the moment. If you can't do that, gonna be tough because if you wait 2 or 3 days and come back, and you gotta translate that stuff into a 5-on-5 game. Well, from what I look at and what I've seen, that's difficult. So from where you sitting there seeing it every day, doing this every day, do you think that matters? Do you think you need to have the skill work in the day and lead up to the end game being playing 5-on-5, or you think you can have skill all day, come 2 days later, get 5-on-5, or whatever, however the case may be?
I think that I think that like we did train and play. So we'll do training for an hour, hour and a half, and then play for an hour and a half. You know what I mean? Right afterwards, back to back, right? Train and then play. I think you do need to play. You know what I mean? I think that you do have to, like, whenever, like for my practices, I always tell people it's like a skill session. For my team practices, we do that. We'll work on certain skills and we'll do the skills, and then we'll play 3-on-3. You know what I mean? I may tell this guy who, you know, we worked on his left hand a lot, you're not allowed to do any, you know, penetrate right, or whatever the case may be. You got to finish all left hand finishes no matter what you do. So to develop that skill level, I think that's important. For us, we can't always, like for me, I got a group, about 20 some kids right now, me and my other trainers, and we just train for like 90 minutes. We're not able to do a play afterwards. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? But we do encourage them all the time. You got to play. You can't, you know what I mean? You can't do that. I got some guys right now who, all last week we did it. They're college guys, some dudes that's overseas, some guys that's in college, or college, even some guys college trying to go overseas. We would do a little skill work for about 45 minutes to an hour. And then right after that, you know, we rented the court. I mean, we have the court rental. We do 2 hours to play pickup.
Gotcha.
You know?
Yeah.
So.
One of the other questions I have also is that, you know, you get these kids in there, man, and obviously everybody want to hit the league. Yeah. That's what you play for, right? It's most people, you know. Everybody want to be a pro of some kind. And do you tell them the realities of that though? Like, do you break that down for them? You know, how many people actually make the NBA? How many people actually can go overseas? How tough it is to go overseas? You've been through that process yourself, because a lot of people think I can just come straight from JUCO and I'm not playing that much, and I can go overseas and I can get paid. I get those calls all the time. It's super frustrating because then I got to break it down to, you know, the players that everybody recycled, the players that was in the draft that didn't get drafted, decided to go overseas. Then you got the players that's in the NBA that's maybe the middle of the bench or the end of the bench, and then they decide to go overseas. Then you got the guys that's just removed from the NBA that still want to play, that's going overseas too. Do you break down those realities, but at the same time also let them know that if you do put the work in, there will be some opportunity, and you have to maximize your opportunity, not what somebody else did. Your opportunity may not be the league. Your opportunity may be second division China. You know what I'm saying? But you have to maximize those things and don't let it discourage you from working hard, because everybody can't make the league because the politics won't let everybody be in the league.
Right. I mean, I'm honest with them. From young to, if you're trying to make the high school team, to the college team, to the overseas, you know what I mean? I tell kids, like, you know, if I'm a high school kid, a college kid, I'll literally go and ask them, first off, there's an eyeball test. You know what I mean? Are you big enough? Are you tall enough? Or what's your exceptional skill? You know what I mean? Or how quick are you? You know what I mean? There's the test. If a college guy walks in, or, you know, even a pro deal walks in, they can look at you, and if you don't pass the eyeball test, you're already at -2, -10. You know what I mean? And then, so I'm honest with that. You know, I'm honest with them about those things, about, you know, you're 5'10" as a guard. There's 6'2" guards. You know what I mean? Right. You know, when I was after college, when I wanted to do the overseas things, my coach said, "Oh, you want to make money doing this? You know, you're a 6'2", 6'3" shooting guard. You're too small. You better learn how to play the point guard." You know what I mean? So I had to go 2-3 years in the ABA just try to work on some point guard skills to develop. So I tell guys that, and then I tell them, man, you know, it's not, you know, you see these guys overseas, they see the, you know, You know, the guy named Curtis Jarrell's from Del Valley, CJ. You know, he's
Yeah, I
been there,
know that.
done that. Yeah, and I'm like, they're exceptional, man. Like, you're not going to overseas and make that money. You're going to go overseas and probably go for $100, €100 your first year. You know what I mean? If you really think you know, coming from where you're coming from, you know what I mean? So I'm honest with people. Some people don't like it. Some people don't want to hear it. Some people may not mess with me after that, but
Gotta be honest.
Yeah, if I don't.
Yeah, no, I mean, gotta be honest. Because if you're not, man, these vultures are real out here. They'll tear these kids apart, man. I've seen it, and it's a tough situation, you know.
Man, I'm a prime example. I tell them my example. When I was trying to go overseas, man, I probably spent about 15, 16,000, if not more, on myself traveling different camps and overseas camp here in this area, this and that. I tried all that type of stuff, spent all that money, paying for the ABA, paying out of pocket to travel to this. I need to get game film, all that. And then it didn't really much. The opportunity I got is when my homegirl, Angela Tinsdale from Baylor, from Del Valley, actually then went to Baylor. She was over in Bulgaria, and she was like, hey, I talked to her. We had a good relationship as a good friend of mine. So I was like, can I go out there and live at Joe's place and work out for the men's team out there? You know what I mean? That was my actual break. You know what I mean? But I paid out of pocket. Nobody gave me a dime. Nobody paid for my flight. None of that. You know what I mean? I went and bummed off, I don't want to call it, but I bummed off a good friend, a female friend, so I can get to the opportunity to play. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I mean, I definitely feel like it's got to be honest with people. I tell them my stories. I'm honest about it.
Yeah.
Talk about not too long ago you was in the New York Times magazine, New York Times newspaper. Dallas Wings guard Alicia Gray. She talked about being in the gym with you, and 5 days a week, just training, and her how much you helped her game out. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, man. Alicia, she was found out she was in the area. She hit through mutual friends. My wife was a mutual friend with hers, and she was there. She asked about training. She found out I was a trainer, and she was like, "Can I, train you with you one time to see how it go?" And man, we clicked. We clicked, and then she used to go overseas every year beforehand, but she had some personal skills that she wanted to develop, and so she's like, "I'm gonna turn down overseas contract, man, but I'm gonna do this. We got to be in the gym." You know what I mean? So we were 5 days a week, 2 hours a day. You know what I mean? It's train. Then we go one-on-one, and then we go in scrimmaging. We playing pickup against other people. You know what I mean? So, I just did that. I tried to give her a need. Fill that need. And again, I always try to talk to her, tell her certain things like, "You're all-star. You're all-star. You're all-star." Put that in her head to build that confidence and stuff, and have her believing she was already good. Don't get me wrong, she was already, but I wanted to bring something to her to build her, build her even more. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much where it went with her.
How many one-on-one games you lose?
Man, man, I got video, man. I lost quite a bit. I lost most of them. With her, man. I lost a lot. We had a series going on, man. We were recorded. We were post-series. And then even the last series we had before she left to go to the Wobble, I lost, man. It was heartbreaking. But it was, but I win in the long run. Yeah, you got to build a confidence,
We know you was building the morale.
Yeah, you got to build confidence. She a pro. You got to build the confidence. We can't kill the confidence, right?
You still like getting out there?
Right.
Open runs and stuff like that?
Yeah, man, I do when I can. I got away from the regular ones because I get into it with people. You know what I mean? People, the way I play or something like that, they like, you have that mentality of that overseas mentality. You play a little bit more aggressive or whatever, and then you always feel like you play, even though I'm 35 years old now, but when you get on that court, and these regular people, you know, certain people, they be like, oh, I'm gonna try to prove my point against him, so they playing you extra hard.
Yeah.
And so I kind of got away from it, but I started these runs now. I just started getting back out there. Like when Alicia's around, I get in the runs with her. But I really just with them, I would just pass. Like I would penetrate, pass the ball, try to get them going and stuff, try to get them game-like situations. But like with these guys that I'm doing right now, I'll do some runs. I've been running with them all week for the last week or two, but I messed around and hurt my ankle yesterday. I was out today. I didn't even run with them, man. You know, the age got me.
Hey, I want to switch to NBA real quick. Me and you had a conversation at the Cigar Vault. That time we was talking about Zion and what we thought he would do prior to him being drafted. So after you seen him play this season, what'd you think?
I think he can be a force still. You know what I mean? It's the injuries. I think he might have to lose. I haven't seen him lately. I've been watching the WNBA more than anything, but I feel like at the time he's going to have to definitely lose some weight. You know what I mean? He ain't got to lose all that power, but he got to lose some to sustain the jumping that, you know what I mean, all that stuff. But, and then I thought he's always going to have to develop more skill because eventually, like a Vince Carter, you know, that jumping going to go away. He's going to have that. But I still think he's going to be a good, I mean, like right now, he has a good name. He has, you know, people are going to know him. He's going to stand out for a while, you know.
Who you got for the championship?
Hey, man, I don't know, man. I actually, like I said, I haven't been watching the NBA. I've been watching the Dallas Wings. That's it. So I just been Dallas Wings. They're out now, out of the playoffs. I haven't been watching too much lately, but I mean, honestly, the Lakers gonna be a problem. You know, they got, you know what I mean, they're doing good with the matchup, the changing the matchups, you know what I mean? They got a bench where, you know what I mean, it's gonna be tough. You know, if I need to get Dwight, Viggy, you know, JaVale in the game, I got some size for that. But if I need to go small ball, I can still move them. I can still move around and still got I got a Rondo, you know what I mean? Who sometimes he don't play and sometimes you know what he gonna do, give you what he give you, you know? And that's not just him, it's quite a bit of them. So I think the Lakers will be a hard matchup right now.
Who do you think in the WNBA gonna take it?
I don't know. I want the Mercury win. Phoenix. I want them to win it, but I don't know. Yeah. You know, I want them to win it though.
Good deal. Hey man, appreciate you coming on, man. Definitely appreciate you coming on. Hey, can you give the people your information to reach out to you if they want to get some training done?
Yeah, man. I got a website. It's just www.stat-pro.com. Stat-pro.com. Instagram is just Stat Pro. You can always find me on Instagram, just Stat Pro. Facebook is John Hollmon Stat Pro. Twitter Stat_Pro. I'm there. Those are all the the social media that I have.
Good deal. John, you got anything?
I mean, I appreciate you coming on and sharing your experiences and all your knowledge of the training aspect.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I appreciate y'all for bringing me on, man. I enjoy it. I like doing things like this and stuff and talking like-minded people and basketball, anything. I always try to. I'm a sponge too, so I always try to be around people like-minded who I can learn and benefit from.
Yeah. Hey man, I definitely appreciate you coming on, man. Like I definitely appreciate what you do in the community, what you do for the kids. I think you pretty much is a role model in this area. Everybody know you. Every time I hear something about you, it's always of high standards. Man, just keep doing a good job, man. Like I think you're doing a great job. I love to see the kids that not only that not mentoring, but also see those kids going to high school. Going to college. I always see you always have some kid that you work with that was in your program or you just had mentored, and I see them going to college and doing things, man. So just keep up the great work, man. For me, you got nothing but respect, man. I think you're doing a hell of a job out here, man.
Thank you so much. I mean, that's good to hear.
I'm about to come see that 6'11" kid though.
I got a 6'11" and a 6'9", man.
I need to see both of them.
Yeah, you let me know, man. I got some of them and stuff. So yeah.
Guys.
All right,
Yeah.
guys, ladies and gentlemen, we out. Appreciate y'all for tuning in.
All right.
All right.
See y'all.